$100 million and $2 million can buy the exact same thing, a private jet. But only one of them buys you the entire planet. Here's what actually changes as the price climbs and the jump between tiers is bigger than you think. 4 budgets, 4 completely different realities. Let's break them down. Tier 1, the $2 million jet. $2 million sounds like serious money. In most industries it is. In private aviation, it's the on-ramp. Specifically, it buys you a Cirrus Vision Jet SF-50, the single-engine personal jet that quietly reshaped who gets to own one at all. The Vision Jet runs on a single Williams FJ335A turbofan producing 1,846 pounds of thrust. 1 engine, not 2, which is exactly why this aircraft exists at this price. Cruise speed sits around 345 miles per hour. Range is approximately 1,275 nautical miles with reserves. That's Los Angeles to Denver, Chicago to Miami, or New York to Nashville. Nothing coast to coast, nothing overseas, and nothing that requires a second pilot by regulation. What makes the Vision Jet different from a typical entry-level aircraft isn't the numbers, it's who's flying it. This is designed and certified for the owner pilot. No professional crew required for many missions. That single fact changes the entire cost equation, and we'll get to why that matters in a minute. From the outside, the Vision Jet looks unlike anything else in its class. The single engine sits mounted above the fuselage at the tail, giving the aircraft a distinctive silhouette that reads more like a concept design than a production jet. It's compact enough to fit in hangars built for piston aircraft, which matters enormously for owners based at smaller regional airports. The cabin holds 5 passengers in a space just under 12 feet long. It's tight, but Cirrus built in details you wouldn't expect at this price: reclining seats, a private lavatory behind a curtain, and cabin windows large enough that it doesn't feel like a tube. On a 2-hour flight, it's comfortable. On a 4-hour flight, you'll notice. The cockpit uses the Cirrus Perspective Touch flight deck, built on Garmin's G3000 platform, with large touchscreen displays and an interface designed to be learned quickly by owner pilots transitioning from piston aircraft. A standout feature is the Safe Return Auto Land system, a button any passenger can press that lands the aircraft automatically in an emergency. It's the kind of safety innovation that simply doesn't exist at higher price points, because it was built specifically for aircraft flown by a single owner pilot rather than a professional crew. Annual operating costs run approximately $250,000 to $350,000, dramatically lower than any twin-engine jet, largely because you may not need to pay for 2 professional pilots at all. Variable costs land around $800 to $900 per flight hour, with the single engine burning roughly 70 gallons per hour at cruise. At $2 million, you're not buying prestige and you're not buying range. You're buying a legitimate door out of commercial aviation at a price point that simply didn't exist for private individuals a generation ago. Tier 2, the $10 million jet. Move to $10 million and the aircraft changes categories entirely. At approximately $11 million new, you're looking at the Cessna Citation CJ4 Gen 2, a light jet built for owners who've outgrown entry-level and want a real crew, real range, and real speed. 2 Williams FJ444A engines produce 3,621 pounds of thrust each, pushing the CJ4 to a cruise speed of approximately 528 miles per hour, genuinely fast for its class, and quicker than jets costing considerably more. Range extends to 2,165 nautical miles. That's Los Angeles toward Hawaii adjacent distances, New York to Los Angeles depending on winds, or London to Cairo nonstop. This is a jet that connects continents, not just cities. Climb performance sets this tier apart. The CJ4 reaches its service ceiling of 45,000 feet efficiently, cruising above most commercial traffic and the weather that comes with it. Runway requirements stay modest at approximately 3,410 feet for takeoff, opening up regional airports that larger jets simply can't access. Step inside and the leap from Tier 1 is immediate. The cabin measures just over 17 feet, standing at 4 feet 9 inches tall, still not stand-up height, but noticeably wider and taller than anything under $5 million. Up to 8 passengers can be configured across 4 club seats and a rear divan. There's a real enclosed lavatory, genuine baggage capacity split between an external compartment and an internal aft closet, and a cabin altitude of 4,850 feet, meaning you land less fatigued than most light jets in this range. The flight deck runs Garmin's G3000 avionics suite with synthetic vision and full flight management integration, requiring a professional crew of 2 rather than a single owner pilot. That crew requirement is one of the defining differences between this tier and the one below it. Operating costs run approximately $1.1 to $1.4 million annually, with variable costs around $2,000, $200 to $2,000, $500 per flight hour. Fuel is the dominant expense, with the twin engines burning roughly 155 gallons per hour combined at cruise. That's real money, but it buys a jet that requires 2 type-rated pilots, real weather radar, and genuine transcontinental capability. At $10 million, you stop working around private aviation's limitations. You start planning trips around your schedule instead of the aircraft's. But wait until you see what $50 million buys, because the jump from here is where things get serious. Tier 3, the $50 million jet, $50 million. Specifically around $46 to $48 million new for the Gulfstream G600, though pre-owned examples with reasonable hours trade closer to the $50 million mark once options and refurbishment are factored in. This is where private aviation stops being a convenience and becomes infrastructure. 2 Pratt & Whitney PW815GA engines deliver 15,144 pounds of thrust each, propelling the G600 to a cruise speed of approximately 690 miles per hour Mach 0.9, among the fastest cruise speeds in civilian aviation. Range reaches 6,600 nautical miles at that speed. Slow slightly to Mach 0.85 and you're looking at 7,500 nautical miles. New York to Tokyo, London to Buenos Aires, Dubai to Los Angeles. This aircraft doesn't connect cities anymore, it connects hemispheres. The exterior tells its own story, a swept wing designed for both high-speed cruise and efficient long-range flight, with the fuselage cross-section noticeably wider than anything in the tiers below. On the ramp, the G600 reads immediately as a serious long-range machine rather than a scaled-up light jet. The cabin is where the price tag earns itself. 45 feet of interior length, 6 feet 3 inches tall, full standing height for virtually anyone. Up to 19 passengers can be configured, though VIP layouts typically run 12 to 16 for real comfort, split across a forward lounge, a mid-cabin conference area, and a private aft suite. Cabin altitude sits at just 4,850 feet at cruise, and the panoramic oval windows, among the largest in business aviation when the G600 launched, flood the space with natural light at 51,000 feet. The Symmetry flight deck features active control side sticks, a design borrowed from the flagship G700, giving pilots precise handling with reduced workload on long-haul legs. It's a cockpit built for crews flying 12-hour missions, not 90-minute hops. Annual operating costs land around $2.3 to $2.6 million. Variable costs run approximately $5,800 to $6,500 per flight hour. This is not aspirational spending anymore. This is a jet bought by people whose calendars span 6 time zones in a single week, and who've calculated that the hours saved are worth more than the aircraft itself. Tier 4, the $100 million jet. $100 million. The Gulfstream G700 lists at approximately $78 million new, but by the time cabin customization, avionics options, and a full VIP fit-out are factored in, most delivered aircraft land close to $100 million all in. 2 Rolls-Royce Pearl 700 engines produce 18,250 pounds of thrust each. Cruise speed reaches approximately 690 miles per hour at Mach 0.9, with range stretching to 6,650 nautical miles at that pace, or 7,750 nautical miles slowed to Mach 0.85. New York to Hong Kong nonstop, Los Angeles to Sydney nonstop. This is not a jet that reaches most of the planet, it reaches all of it in a single sitting. Maximum operating altitude climbs to 51,000 feet, above nearly all commercial traffic and most weather systems entirely. Runway performance remains surprisingly strong for an aircraft this size, with takeoff distances that keep major hub airports and many secondary fields within reach. Inside, the numbers stop sounding like an aircraft and start sounding like a residence. Nearly 57 feet of cabin, 8 feet 2 inches wide, 6 feet 3 inches tall, with 20 panoramic windows, more than any business jet ever certified. Up to 5 distinct living zones stretch across the interior: a forward conference suite, a mid-cabin lounge, a formal dining area, an entertainment section, and a private stateroom with a full ensuite shower. Cabin altitude at cruise is just 2,916 feet, barely above sea level, meaning a 14-hour flight leaves you closer to rested than wrecked. The Symmetry flight deck here introduces the world's first active control side sticks in a purpose-built long-range business jet, paired with a suite of touchscreen displays that give both pilots complete situational awareness on missions that can stretch past 16 hours. Annual operating costs run approximately $2.6 to $3 million, with variable costs near $7,000 to $7,500 per flight hour. But at this tier, nobody buying the aircraft is running that math against a household budget. They're running it against what an extra 6 hours of flexibility is worth to a business empire that doesn't pause for time zones. 4 price points, 4 completely different realities. $2 million buys freedom from the airport line, $10 million buys a jet that treats a continent like a commute, $50 million buys hemispheres. $100 million buys a version of the planet where distance simply stops being a variable. Which tier would you actually choose if the budget wasn't a limit? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see how far this goes past $100 million, check out our video on the world's most expensive private jets ever delivered right here. See you there.